This is a Global Original Podcast. As you can hear from the echoey sound of my voice, I'm recording this from where Boris Johnson keeps his shame. There's nothing in here. This week I have a heated debate about the thing that makes the world go round. Not magnets, the other thing. A lady who swears she isn't drunk calls to talk about films, and I have a go at Donito Mussolini. But first, after I get a call about the Muppets, I get an unwanted intruder. Best Christmas film, The Muppets Christmas Carol. It's a thing of joy. Is it? Really? Huh. I've never seen it. Mind you, I used to like the Muppets. That used to be good fun, but then I was much, much younger at the time. Did somebody just come in? Did somebody just come in then?
I'm very confused. Have we got ghosts?
Why did just somebody... every now and again somebody just bursts in here because people do the training where I'm sitting, because this is the engineer's part, because I work the desk. I'm the only presenter that works my own desk, aren't I? It's just me. Everybody else just sits there like a blooming emperor and has their minions work the desk for them. But I'm the only one that does it myself, like a DJ. Hey! Everybody else here is like a presenter. They've got assistants surrounding them like flies. Everyone else here gets 3 assistants through the glass, don't they? I get 1 because I do 2 people's jobs and my own. I'm a good boy, I am. But because this is, I'm sitting where the engineer normally sits, then newbies get trained in here, and so they just feel confident to just waltz in. It happens so many times. They ignore the red light outside that means
warning.
Yeah, don't come in, and then they just come in. The amount of times I've been sitting here doing my excellent show, and somebody comes in and they just sit down. And look at me as though I'm in the wrong place. Ma texts, Peaky Blinders is rubbish. See, I've saved myself a lot of time. I knew it. I just think that all of those sort of 9 o'clock dramas on British television, they're all, I tell you what they are, not as good as The Sopranos. So why waste your time? I'm watching The Sopranos again. I just started. I'm up to about episode 11 for series 1, and this must be like the 4th or 5th time I've watched the entire series, and it's still the best thing on television. Nothing has come close for me. It goes The Sopranos, The Wire, which is considerably lower, and then everything else. Nothing that we produce in this country, drama-wise, comes anywhere near it, which is kind of embarrassing, really. Why don't we do really great, serious, but it's not entirely serious because a lot of it's really funny, but we don't do really good drama. It's all a bit meh, you know? And there's not enough time in a life for meh. So I'm back watching The Sopranos again. And the thing with that, there's so many of them, you sit down and you don't have to go through the TV schedules. You don't have to think, oh gosh, there's nothing on, because there's always something on. Another episode of The Sopranos. Oliver in South Harrow. Hello, Oliver.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been listening to you, and you keep bashing Mr. Trump, President Trump.
Why on earth would I be so mean?
What do you like about? What do you like about this guy? What don't you like about this guy?
What do I like about him? Well, what I like about him is a shorter list than what I don't like about him.
Okay, I'm going to start with what don't you like about this guy?
Well, what do you like about him?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think he's a great president, and much better than the one before.
Oh yes, in what way?
Economic-wise.
Economic-wise,
Yes.
Can you flesh that out for us?
Okay, because I'm a black man and I support Trump. Yeah, for you, I know it sounds a little bit funny. But I think he kept his promises.
You haven't been funny so far, Oliver, but I'm on the
I know.
edge of my seat.
I'm not trying to be funny.
Right.
No.
Well, you brought it up.
Yeah, I know. But I'm trying to say that he kept his promises, especially to
He
minorities.
kept his promises. Really? In what way?
Yes, sir. Yes. Economic-wise.
You keep saying economic-wise. In what way has he kept his promises?
Yeah, he dropped the unemployment rates.
No, actually he didn't. The unemployment rate has gone down in an exact straight line all the way through Obama's presidency. And
I knew you would bring me this Obama. I knew it. I waited for you to tell me, and I knew that you were going to mention this guy.
Well, you mentioned him first.
I know.
How can you talk about the economic situation in America without also including what happened before Trump came in? Trump has had absolutely no effect on employment rate. He has had no effect on the stock market or anything like that, other than continuing the exact straight line that went through Obama's presidency.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, right, all right. You expect me to believe this propaganda?
No, I don't care whether you believe it, Oliver. It's not propaganda. Just look it up. Do you have the internet in South Harrow? Just look it up, man. Painful. I'm a black man, and that's what I believe, he said, as though his skin colour gives him some special insight. Lara tweets, Nick, I have a problem. I'm a Brit living in California. I've been offered the option of renting an apartment, but it's owned and managed by a guy who is a very open Trump supporter. Is this a terrible idea? Well, it depends on whether he's going to come around or not. Always insist on 24 hours notice so that you're not there when he is. I love America. I spent about 10 months in America just traveling all over the place. I've seen more of America than most Americans. The one thing that I did feel when I was in America, in the middle of it, I can vividly remember thinking, gosh, these people are really nice and they're open and they're warm, but you talk to them for a little while and I thought, gosh, I'm kind of glad that I'm not black doing the trips that I did, because I don't think that I would have got the same response. But now, I just don't think I could go to America now. Not while the screaming Mimi is in the wine house.
I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
The least presidential person in history.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
How can anybody like that guy? I mean, people in possession of their common sense. How can you like that man? There's particularly, how can people who say that they're religious like him? That's the thing that just boggles my mind. And there's a magazine called Christianity Today. Did you hear about this? Christianity Today, it's the evangelicals publication, who all seem pretty irreligious to me. Christianity Today penned an opinion piece calling for the removal of President Trump's, and the editor was piled on by people who, the sort of Bible-bashing gun nuts. People who aren't really religious, they just use God as a weapon. Those people. Mark Galli is the editor of Christianity Today. He appeared on television in the States to defend his claims that Trump is morally unfit for office. Does that sound likely?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Critics of the original opinion piece, published in evangelical magazine Christianity Today, accused the writer of having little understanding of the Constitution and failing to cite any legal reasons why Trump should be removed. There's no legal reasons why Trump should be removed from office? Oh, come on. Apart from everything he's ever said or done. And this writer, Mark Galli, the editor, he doubled down saying, I'm not really speaking politically, making a political judgment about him because that's not our expertise at Christianity Today. I'm making a moral judgment that he is morally unfit. He's both morally unfit and unfit.
Exercising is fun and it's nice.
Yeah, how do you know? Exercising. There's a guy who takes a golf cart to his golf cart. This editor said, it's his public morality that makes him unfit. We're not looking for saints. we do have private sins, ongoing patterns of behaviour that reveal themselves in our private life that we're all trying to work on. But a president has certain responsibilities as a public figure to display a certain level of public character and public morality. Correct amundo. And public character and public morality does not include picking Twitter fights with teenage girls, grabbing women by the genitals because you think you can get away with it because you're famous, lying constantly, as in all the time, ripping babies from their Latino mother's arms so you can get a cheer from your white power fans, and so many other crimes and misdemeanors that there's not enough time in a 3-hour show to list them all. It's like people have joined a cult with him, and now the cult's over here. We have a cultist over here.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Same guy, and he's saying the same things to the same kind of people. What are we going to do? Get Brexit done. God, it's frightening. Christianity Today, that publication, largely read by evangelicals, 80% of whom still support the president. But I would ask you gun-toting foamers, what would Jesus do? You really think that Jesus, whose name they use in vain all the time to back up their violent tendencies and their loathing of anybody not like them, do you think that Jesus will be on the side of that amoral orange hate monger in the White House? Donald Trump is not a nice person.
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
That's probably the only moment of self-reflection. I mean, I took that out of context, that clip. There's no way that Donald Trump does not think he is a nice person. He thinks that nobody is nicer than me. Believe me. The Christianity Today editor Mark Galli is leaving the publication, and, praise the Lord, his replacement appears to share the exact same opinions about Donald Trump. Dr. Daniel Harrell, who's going to take over the magazine in January, taught at Harvard University, retweeted a link to an interview with Galli praising his criticisms of Trump. And what does can Trump leave this alone? Of course not. He's a thin-skinned, whining orange baby. He says that this magazine, Christianity Today, is a periodical run by the far left. It's fake news. This is from a man, Donald Trump, when he was. This is another famous clip, and how religious people just ignore absolutely everything he says and does, and are still in his kind of clutches. It's under his influence. It's just mind-boggling to me. Donald Trump was asked by a journalist what his favourite book of the Bible was, and he looked lost, and then said, "All of them." He said, the fact is no president has ever done what I have done for evangelicals or religion itself. And that is a fact because Donald Trump said it. Liar! Exactly. In his opinion piece, Galli targeted evangelical Christians who continue to support Trump in spite of his blackened moral record. He wrote, "The facts in this instance are unambiguous. The President of the United States attempted to use his political power to coerce a foreign leader to harass and discredit one of the President's political opponents. That is not only a violation of the Constitution, more important, it is profoundly immoral." He says, "We believe the impeachment hearings have made it absolutely clear, in a way the Mueller investigation did not, that President Trump has abused his authority for personal gain and betrayed his constitutional oath. The impeachment hearings have illuminated the president's moral deficiencies for all to see. You only have to open your eyes and ears to see his moral deficiencies." Galli claimed Trump's own habits have slid the nation toward immorality. He has hired and fired a number of people who are now convicted criminals. He himself has admitted to immoral actions in business and his relationship with women, about which he remains proud. He says his Twitter feed alone, with its habitual string of mischaracterizations, lies and slanders, is a near-perfect example of a human being who is morally lost and confused. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but that evangelical is right. I can't believe it's taken so long for somebody to say it. And that man, that moral black hole is the person that we in this country have decided to give control of our nation to. We're leaving the Rainbow Coalition of interested parties in the European Union and gifting control to an amoral, whining orange baby in the White House. It's amazing. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Awful. Coming up, I have a row with a bloke who saw what became a famous exchange on Question Time. Let's have Streatham. John.
Hello.
Yes, John.
Hi. I was calling because I woke up this morning and James O'Brien had a 2-hour discussion about a Question Time audience member. I'm guessing you've seen the clip.
No, which one?
He was the guy who was from Bolton, and he was going, you Labour lot, you're going to tax me and I'm an average earner. And you're lying and saying I'm in the top 5%. And then Fiona Bruce said, how much do you earn?
80 grand.
And he went, and even when it was pointed out to him, he refused to believe. He went as far as to say that 80 grand is not the top 50%. So he went from 5% to 50%.
Wow. That is misinformation.
To the extreme.
Earning 80,000 a year puts you in the top 5% of earners, but that's not where the money is. Money is in wealth. Earning 80 grand a year doesn't put you in the top 5% richest people. It just puts you in the top 5% of the earning category.
Yes, and that's what the Labour MP was saying. And then he went even further, and he said, "Shall I do the accent or not?"
No.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And I was trying to. I'm a big fan of yours, but I was trying to get on the James O'Brien show, but he was too busy. So.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm not having a go at you, but I thought if I couldn't get on then, I get on now.
You get on this low rent show, yeah.
No, I'm banned by a few. I'm banned by a few of your competitors on other stations.
Right.
Yes. So no, and he then went one step further and went that not only is 80 grand not in the top 5% of earners, he said it's not in the top 50% of earners, and then, like something out of a Stuart Lee sketch, he said, I'll refrain from doing the accent, he said, and all these solicitors and doctors down in London, they're all above 80 grand, and then the Labour MP said, actually, I was a solicitor in London, I was on about 40 grand, and his mother, next to him, a northern matriarch, she started shouting out, "Rubbish! You're a liar!" It's like they, and it was.
The solicitors really earn 40,000. I would have thought they'd been a lot more than that.
No. I mean, apart from like the Magic Circle.
Well, I know the big lawyers earn millions, but your ordinary average solicitor, I guess so. Yeah, maybe.
40, 50. No, I mean, I can tell you that as a fact. I've worked for a lot of law firms. For high street firms.
But it's also true that if somebody earns 80,000 a year, they don't feel rich because their lifestyle increases to cover all of the money that's coming in and a lot that isn't. You know, they've got debts on credit cards. They can't afford the car that they want or the holidays that they feel that they deserve and all the rest of this stuff.
But am I really? Because I wouldn't expect you to say that. Am I really out of step with most people? Because when it's not about wanting to earn more. Like that guy, from his argument, I wouldn't pay him 8 grand a year. Do you know what I mean? And for him or other people on 80 grand to think that they're not doing.
Well, boil the numbers down. 80 grand a year with tax and all the various taxes that we pay. So you can knock off half of that, right? So they're actually on 40,000 a year. So
no. This guy was net.
No, not net.
No, he was net. Yeah.
Well, how much did he earn then?
Well, this is the thing. He couldn't get onto that because he was too busy saying all of you solicitors and all of you fancy doctors.
I think you got that wrong. I don't think he said that he was on net for 80,000. I think that's what he earned, 80,000. So
okay, let's go with you.
All
okay.
Right. So 80,000. Knock off a half of it for tax. I know that's not the direct, the total for tax, but indirect tax as well, national insurance and all the rest of it. So let's say it's 40,000, and then you have a mortgage. So you'll have a mortgage that's about 2 grand a month, So that's another.
Okay.
So that's 24,000
No,
off.
you see that.
So you've
No,
you've only got 16,000 left, and you hire a car. Nobody buys a car anymore. You hire a car, and so that's another what? So that'll be another 6,000. So that leaves you with 10 grand to spend
but
on
Nick,
everything.
But Nick, I respect you dearly, but with the greatest of respect, like all you've essentially said is that if someone earns a lot and they're spending a lot as well, so in the hand remains a pencil. Like that's the whole point. If you're earning 80
But
grand,
that doesn't sound like a very luxurious life. I mean, apart from the £2,000 a month mortgage, that would be a reasonable amount for somebody who's on 80,000 to
he
be
wasn't
able
in
to
no, but he wasn't in London. He was up in Bolton. I've spent a lot of time in those
It
places
doesn't
up
make
north.
any difference.
Oh, it does. It makes a difference.
Not
with the
really,
rent.
not really. So you add the car and the school uniforms and the meal out once a month and all of the rest of it, and you haven't got any money anymore.
I've never disagreed with you before, but are you genuinely saying that this guy who seemed to get most of his information from Roy Chubby Brown, that he was in poverty because he was in poverty?
No, John, you're taking what I am saying and using it using it in its extreme understanding. That's not.
What
I'm
are
not
you saying then? What are
I'm
you
not
saying?
saying poverty. I'm saying that earning 80,000 a year is not being as rich as you would imagine if you earned 20,000 a year. It's not. You don't feel rich when you're earning 80 grand.
I mean, what's this thing about feeling rich? Like you've got a nice house, you've got a nice car, you've got a nice mother who sat there going, "These crazy London solicitors all on," and she's probably been told by.
All of those things are nice, but it doesn't mean that you've actually got any money to spend, because just without spending anything other than your house and your car, it puts you on 10 grand a year. And you go on 2 holidays, and after that you got nothing.
Blimey! I know you're coming up to a break, but can I squeeze in this point? If you go on the streets of Bolton, and I've done it a few times. I don't advise it hugely, but Bolton, Manchester, Salford, all these places, 80 grand to most people, especially up there.
Yes, I'm aware of that. The point that I'm making, John, is that once you get there, you'll find that actually it's not a life of unbelievable riches. You're still struggling to get by.
No. Even on half of that, you can lead a very good life.
Yes, you're very good. You can live a very good life on £1 a week if you surround yourself. Yes, you can. If you surround yourself with nice people and you live in a commune, you grow all your own food.
You're off the mark. Most of your listeners will agree that 80 grand a year, and the whole point is he was having a go at Uncle Jezza.
They will agree that 80 grand is a lot because they haven't earned 80 grand. When you get there and you earn it, you'll find that it is actually, you don't actually walk around with money pouring out your pockets, and you can't just buy things that you see on a whim.
I've earned half of that outside of London. It's a very nice lifestyle. It's London.
I'm not disputing that, but we're talking about feeling rich.
Yeah, you feel rich in this country, earning 40 grand a year outside of London.
Rubbish.
Yeah, of course you do.
No, absolutely not. You're talking rubbish, mate.
You are completely off the mark.
40,000 a year, so that's 20 that you've got to actually spend. And you've got to put a roof over your head. You end up with nothing without actually buying any food.
I mean, it's just, I don't want to fall out with you. I don't want you to ban me like some of your other DJs, not on your station. But you are the majority of people listening to you.
I'm completely correct in every respect.
It is absolutely wrong to say that in the UK on 80 grand, he's been radicalised by Roy Chubby Brown, as have you been. It's a very good salary, and he was just saying that.
I'm not disputing that it's a good salary, but I thought that we were discussing whether you were rich or not.
Yes, you're rich on 80 grand. I was rich on 40 grand. I was rich on 40.
Some people feel rich on 10.
You've been paid very well. I'm not having a go.
There's kids who try to make a living by walking up piles of rubbish and extracting whatever they can, bits of plastic or metals from computers and stuff like that. They actually live on a rubbish tip. These kids with flies in their eyes, and they think that £10,000 a year would be riches beyond their imagining.
Yeah, I've met some of those kids. I've met the cobblers who are on the street earning the equivalent.
Right, so it just depends on where you're coming from. I mean, somebody
who's it's all relative.
Yeah, precisely. Somebody who earns £1 million a year can't imagine getting by on 80 grand.
Yeah, then why don't we say that? You know, almost everyone listening to you is earning less than Ricky Gervais. So even people who are listening to you in the square mile, who are on like,
what's he got to do with it?
No, seriously, people who are listening to you now from the square mile, who are on like $3 million a year, they might as well call up and go, $3 million is nothing compared to Ricky Gervais' fortune. I mean, it's meaningless.
Well, I don't know where Ricky Gervais came into it, but it doesn't matter how much you've got. It's always never enough.
Well, then there's no point in wanting to tax the rich, because none of us are rich apart from the people with $100 million in the bank. The whole point of this chubby northern fellow was to say that Corbyn will be taxing the hard up, such as himself, who's on 80 grand a year, and it's rubbish to say 80 grand a year is hard up.
Yes,
especially out of London.
If he said I'm hard up on 80 grand a year, then that's obviously untrue. But I don't think that's what he said.
He said he's not rich.
I don't think he is rich.
Oh, I think he is. I think most of your callers aren't earning anywhere near.
Well, okay, but if somebody is sitting on a street and they don't have any food, then somebody walking by with a sandwich is rich to them. It's all comparative to where you sit, John. But anyway, you're banned. I don't mean that. Unless I do. And he was never heard from again. Unless he was. Coming up, a woman calls who swears she isn't drunk. I'll let you decide. Here's Belfast, Holly.
Hi, Nick.
Are you all right?
How you doing?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm okay. How are you?
Good, thanks. Glad to be talking to you. I'm not too drunk this time.
Well, that's a matter of debate. We'll find out. Go ahead.
Yeah, you will. No, it's very interesting talking to your last caller. I think it's great, this debate that is coming up. I've phoned you about a totally separate issue, but just with this income wealth debate, it's fascinating to me that people who are in the top 5% don't believe they are. Listening to James O'Brien earlier today, it was really enlightening, his conversation. But what I found job especially talk about was I saw, do you know Ken Loach, the director? I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yeah.
Does kind of social commentary films.
Yes.
Anyway,
I don't watch his films. It's just too depressing. But I know who he is.
Well, we can't turn away from suffering.
You can.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but maybe. Well, yeah, I know it.
I mean, if I'm going to
it's
spend
hard to watch,
20 quid to go to the cinema, I don't want to be depressed when I come out. I want to come out elated. I want to see car crashes and explosions. I want £100 million worth of stuff to blow up on screen. I don't want people sitting in a council estate moaning at each other.
Stop whining.
But is that not why we're in the situation we are in society? Because we ignore it and we don't remember, we don't listen and think about the situation others are in.
Yeah. But I don't want to see a film about other people's misery. If I want to experience other people's misery, I'll hang out at the bus stop down the bottom of my road.
So you won't go and see it?
No, absolutely not. No. I wouldn't even watch it if it came on TV. I don't care how good it is and what.
You don't care about the gig economy.
I know all about that, and I'm against it. But I don't want to dip myself in a vat of misery on my day off.
Well, you could stream it at some point, and
no, I'm not going to.
Yeah, so no. It wouldn't be so bad. But I want to ask you before you. Because I know you're probably, not, you don't have long, but
over here, yeah.
Corbyn, how do you feel about Corbyn? Can you tell me at all?
Can I tell you how I feel about Jeremy Corbyn?
Yes, because your position is indefinable to me when I listen to you.
That's the way it will continue to be until after the election, because those are the rules, Holly, and I always follow the rules. I'm a stickler for rules. And that's it. If you subscribe to this podcast, you'll find the next episode gets squirted up your life as though by magic on Mondays. And don't forget the podcast that I do with Carol McGiffin, which I think you'll find is a right laugh. She is one funny lady. It's called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol, in which we try to solve people's problems while laughing like hyenas. There's also the whole show. from my programs on the radio, which are self-explanatory, and you'll find all of those where you got this. If in doubt, just do an internet search on Nick Abbot Podcasts. And I'll be back on the radio with an extra show now, Friday, Saturday and Sunday night at 10. And until then, I'll be seeing you.
Bye-bye.